Have you ever noticed that small talk only feels fake when you are trying to do it correctly? Like you are saying normal sentences about the weather, the weekend, the commute, and somehow your brain is whispering, "This is pointless. This is performance. None of this is real." Here's the strange part. The other person often walks away thinking it was perfectly fine, maybe even pleasant. Meanwhile, you feel like you just acted in a short, low-budget play called Two Humans Pretend to Be Relaxed. So why does that happen? Especially if you are analytical, introverted, or just very sincerity-minded. Let's break it down step by step, because the mechanism is simpler and more interesting than you are bad at socializing. Step 1. Notice the hidden job of small talk. Most people think small talk is about exchanging information. What did you do? Where are you from? What do you do for work? The facts. But small talk is usually doing a different job first. It is checking for safety, friendliness, and rhythm. It is closer to a handshake than a spreadsheet. If you treat it like data exchange, you will naturally try to optimize it. You will hunt for the right topic, the interesting angle, the useful question, and that pressure makes everything feel staged. Think of light conversation as a connection warm-up, like letting your car idle for a moment before you drive. The goal is not depth. The goal is, are we comfortable in the same space for the next 5 minutes? Once you see that, small talk stops being fake facts. It becomes a tiny signal that says, I am not a threat and I can share the room with you. Step 2, catch the moment you try to be interesting too early. A very common analytical move is to skip levels. Your brain sees a shallow topic and thinks, let's upgrade this. So you reach for a clever story, a sharp observation, a meaningful question, something that proves you are worth talking to. But small talk is not an audition, and when you treat it like one, you start monitoring yourself. Am I talking too much? Not enough? Was that weird? Should I add more context? Dale Carnegie's old line still lands because it is almost annoyingly true. To be interesting, be interested. Most people fail as conversationalists not because they lack things to say, but because their attention is busy rehearsing the next line. Here is a tiny test. While someone is speaking, are you collecting their meaning or collecting your reply? If you are collecting your reply, the interaction will feel like a performance because you were literally performing. The twist is that you can say less and be perceived as more socially skilled if your attention feels full and exclusive. Attention is like a spotlight. Wherever it goes, the other person feels real. Step 3. Understand why fake is often just low context. Small talk can feel fake when it floats in the air with no shared anchor. Two strangers talking about busy weeks can sound like two robots exchanging status updates. What fixes that is not a better topic, it is shared context. Shared context is any detail you both can point to: the place you are in, the event you are attending, the task you are both doing, the timing, the environment. Notice how different these two questions feel. What do you do? Versus, how do you know the host? Or, how has this week been for you with this project going on? Same person, same conversation, but the second one is tied to a real mutual situation. It is grounded. And once you have shared context, you can stay in it longer than you think. You do not need to topic hop. You can just explore one small corner of the moment together, like two people looking at the same painting. Small talk stops feeling fake when it stops feeling untethered. Step 4. Switch from topics to people, using the other person's interests. Here's where Carnegie's other principle becomes useful. Talk in terms of the other person's interests. This is not manipulation. It is basic human physics.
People become warmer when the conversation touches something they already care about. The analytical trap is to treat conversation like choosing a podcast episode. Pick a topic, run the topic. If it fails, pick a new topic. A calmer model is to treat conversation like tuning a radio. You listen for a signal, and when you find it, you stay with it. The signal is energy. When the other person's voice gets a little brighter, when they add detail without being pushed, when they use phrases like, I love, I've been into, I've been trying, that is the station. Your job is not to impress them with your station. Your job is to help the signal come through. That can sound like, oh, interesting. What got you into that? Then, what do you like about it? Then, what is the most surprisingly hard part? Those are not fancy questions. They are just permission slips. And they work because they let the other person do a great deal of the talking, which is often what people enjoy most, even if they do not admit it. Step 5, learn the minimal warmth that makes everything feel real. A lot of introverted people think warmth requires high energy, big expressions, constant joking, or some outgoing persona. But warmth can be low effort. It can be mostly signal, not performance. Carnegie points out things that sound almost too simple, like smiling and giving honest appreciation, and yet they change the temperature of an interaction. Even on the phone, a smile can be heard in your voice. So what does minimal warmth look like in real time? It looks like a relaxed face and a gentle tone. It looks like tiny acknowledgments that prove you are tracking. Yeah, that makes sense. Oh, wow. Not as filler, but as feedback. It looks like one specific appreciation that is true. I like how you explain that. Or, thanks for making that easy. Or, that was helpful. Warmth is like oil in an engine. You do not need a lot. You just need enough to reduce friction. And notice what this does to the fake feeling. If you are focused on warmth and attention, you do not have enough mental bandwidth left to feel like you are acting. You are simply there. Step 6, use the rapport function on purpose without turning it into a script. So what is rapport practically? Rapport is the sense that being together is easy, that your rhythms can match, that neither of you is forcing it. One way to build that quickly is to aim for small agreements, not deep revelations. Carnegie describes the idea of getting early yes responses, the way Socratic questioning naturally creates cooperation. In everyday terms, this is just noticing what is already true for both of you. If you are both at a busy coffee shop, you can say something that invites a small shared reality, like, it is packed in here today. If they agree, you have alignment. If they add detail, you have a thread. Then you stay with the thread by reflecting, not by leaping. So it has been like this all week, or sounds like you have been juggling a lot, or that is a good problem to have, honestly. Reflection is powerful because it proves you are listening, and it lets the other person hear their own thoughts more clearly. People love that feeling. It is emotional relief without therapy language. And here's a tiny micro application you can hold lightly this week. No pressure. In any light conversation, try this. Give the other person 2 clean follow-ups before you contribute a story of your own. Not forever, just 2. Follow-up number 1 shows interest. Follow-up number 2 proves it was not a trick. Most forced small talk dies because we contribute too early. We try to earn our spot. But you already have a spot. You are there. You are allowed to be curious. If you zoom out, the whole thing becomes oddly reassuring. Small talk feels fake when you use it for the wrong job. You use it to prove something or extract something or skip to depth. But small talk, at its best, is just the first layer of shared reality. It's 2 nervous systems quietly negotiating, can we be human next to each other? And if that is true, then the goal is not to be fascinating. The goal is to be present, to be lightly warm, and to let the other person's interests lead the way. If you enjoy understanding how these social mechanisms work, subscribe. And if there is another everyday interaction that feels weirdly hard, tell me what it is, and we can explore what is really happening underneath